Booklight tutorial for filmmakers and photographers. In this tutorial, I will show you three things: the difference between hard and soft light and how to create each type. 2. How to create soft light with a booklight using professional gear. And 3. How to create soft light with a booklight using cheap gear. The low-budget do-it-yourself approach. Let's get started. First, what's the difference between hard and soft light, and how do you create each type? I'll show you using a cell phone, a piece of paper, and one of my son's toys. We will use the toy as our subject. The light on my cell phone will be our light source. The key to creating hard light, or light that casts hard shadows, is having a small light source compared to your subject. My cell phone's light is small compared to the size of the toy, therefore the light causes hard shadows. Now watch what happens when we take the same source of light, my cell phone, and aim that light at a sheet of paper. The paper is much larger than the toy, so when I bounce the light off of it, we get much softer light and softer shadows. This is because the paper has become the new light source, and it's much bigger than the cell phone light alone. So, small light sources cast hard shadows. Large light sources cast softer shadows. It's important to note that soft light is not better than hard light, but to a photographer or cinematographer, it's a choice. We often use soft light when shooting people because it's flattering. Now let me show you how to build a booklight to create soft light when shooting a person. Our first booklight will be created using Pro Gear. It consists of a silver reflector, a light stand with a clamp to hold the silver reflector, a piece of diffusion material called silk, a light stand with a boom arm to hold the silk, a Godox VL150 light as our light source, and a light stand to hold our light. It's called a booklight because it looks like an open book when you look at the setup in a diagram. The back of the book is our reflector, attached to a stand. The front of the book is our diffusion, the piece of silk hanging from the boom arm. The Godox light is aimed at the silver reflector. The light bounces off of the silver reflector, and then the bounced light travels through the silk and onto our subject, creating a big soft light. First, here's the shot with only the practical light on, the consumer lamp on the table in the background of the shot. Now let's turn on our booklight. As you can see, the booklight creates a big soft light source on our subject. The light wraps around the subject's face. Shadows are very soft. The booklight is our key light in this scenario. If you want a flatter look, less contrast, you can put a white bounce card next to the subject across from our booklight, and it will act as a fill light on the darker side of our subject's face, making illumination on the face a little more even. If we want the darker side of our subject's face to be darker, a little more dramatic, we can use a black furniture blanket instead of the white bounce card. This is called negative fill. It absorbs light and creates contrast. To make the background of the shot more interesting, I placed a second Godox VL150 light on a light stand off camera in the back of our shot. It shoots light through the open doorway in our background. To break the light up a little with shadow, I placed strips of tape across a gel holder. This gives a light through blinds look. Now let's look at creating a low-budget do-it-yourself booklight. In this scenario, I've replaced the silver reflector with a simple white bed sheet. Instead of the Godox VL150 light, I'm using two Home Depot work lights with two Consumer Creed Daylight LED bulbs in them. Instead of the silk diffuser, I'm using a shower curtain. Instead of using the second VL150 to light up the background, I'm using another work light. And again, I'm shooting it through the strips of tape. For fill light, I'll use the same white foam board. I'm also using the same stands, but you could buy cheap stands and a bunch of clamps to keep the cost of those items low. In addition, I placed another work light off camera, slightly behind and above where our subject will sit. This will be a backlight. It's aimed at the subject's head and shoulders. My wife will sit in as our subject this time. I really like the look of this shot. Can you tell that we used cheap lights to light it? The backlight on her dark hair looks nice, easier to light than my bald head. I prefer the more expensive gear for 4 main reasons. 1. The quality of light from the VL150 is very good. No green or magenta tint that you sometimes get with cheaper lights. 2. The Godox VL150 lights are very bright. Sometimes you will need more powerful lights to pull off good lighting. Sometimes you won't, it depends on the situation. 3. The Pro lights are dimmable. You can dim them to the exact amount of light you need and their color temperature doesn't change. They also don't flicker. And 4. The Godox lights can be battery powered. Nice to not have to always plug them into a power outlet. But obviously work within your budget. Even without having a lot of expensive gear, you can often get very good results by using techniques like the book light. I'll leave links to everything I used in the description below this video if you want to check out some of the gear. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.